He like the rest of city council. They're never going to directly say that they're in support of BPG and the mayor. The mayor's daughter is never going to say that. She will never say that.
The mayor's who?
The mayor's daughter, Councilmember Cabrera, would never directly say that.
Jesus Christ. You gonna Jesus. You know, this is going to be all the way off course. I am so sorry. So you were watching us.
She will never directly say that.
I'm like, the mayor's daughter. I was confused. Good evening. This is Dr. Curry.
This is Coby Owens.
Shané Darby.
And welcome to The Source. So much is going on in our city and in the state, and it's just violence is at an all-time high. Now, you all have kind of pre-warned everyone that as it gets warmer, more violence would occur. And I'm just really stunned with, since we last viewed, there have been 4 shootings, 2 of which are right here in the South Bridge section. And then there are 2 others, one on Franklin Street and one on Harrison Street. I'm just trying to get a sense of what's going on and where we are. But if we can get a little bit more information on some of these, I would truly appreciate it.
Yeah, so the funny, and not so funny, but the interesting thing is there's not a lot of information on these shootings,
right,
that is being put out to the public. It's something that has been asked for by community members, by council members, to regularly update the public on what is going on when it comes to violence. But it's been this administration's, I guess, how they want to operate is we can't have bad press if we don't give facts out, right? Mm-hmm. So they try to control a narrative that this is a very safe place, that nothing's happening here, but yet we know time and time again these incidents continue to happen.
Yeah. So I don't know why they would even think that if we don't put enough information out, we won't get bad press, because you're getting bad press the mere fact that it occurred. Now, let's start with the one in South Bridge. Now, there was one person who I think he was 16 years old and he was killed, and another one, he's now released from the hospital.
One was released, but again, we're seeing a trend towards violence. We talked about this last week, talked about the week before. We talk about it almost every week on the show, of the uptick in violence, right? And we know we're at the arc right now, the summer arc, where we're going to see a rise in that gun violence. And what I haven't seen is an increase in strategy to actually address and disrupt some of this gun violence. And it's, you know, almost a 2-year anniversary since Council President Trippy Congo gave money to gun violence intervention groups, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of those groups were able to do some good work, but then that only came from the council side. They really did not get support from the mayor's administration, but yet we have all this money to give away to developers to build here. I think we need to refocus the city, especially during this critical time, this summertime, to make sure that we are trying to cut down on some of the violence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, were you going to say anything on that?
Yeah, no, as Coby pointed out, the city got ARPA funds, mm-hmm. and through the ARPA funds, City Council was able to convince the mayor administration to put money into violence prevention work. However, outside of that money, which expires in 2025, which is next year, there has not been any sustainability plan put in place to talk about how do we permanently have a violence of prevention. They call it in other cities like an Office of Violence Prevention, right? How do we permanently put that into our city code to always have one, despite I don't care who the administration is, right? We need to have an Office of Violence Prevention, and we need to make sure that there's funding for it so that we can talk about violence in our city and help and contribute to that conversation. But again, we're about to have another budget hearing. And in that budget, we do not have any funds of city council funds or the administrations or city funds in general that is dedicated to violence prevention. So again, we're going to go another year. What happens is city council is very reactive. We're going to wait till the money is about to run out, and then we're all going to panic. And I was, oh my gosh, we need money. And either we're not going to give them money because we forgot about it. New administration, new people, because everyone's new when you run for office. And hopefully it's a new group of people. But hopefully we don't forget that we need to put money into office violence prevention in our city. So next year we can do that. But it's not going to happen this year. There's not enough support. Administration said they're about to leave. The next administration needs to figure that out, not them.
Have the civic associations raised issue with the violence in their districts? I mean, you have several civic associations that are affected by this, and we haven't even talked about the 4th and Franklin or the what do you call it, the Harrison Street. But have y'all been hearing anything from civic associations?
Of course, yeah. They talk about the violence in the community, but I always get a different vibe from them in regards to how to solve it. They really want more police. More police does not equal less violence. We have to look at the facts and data. I'm not making that up. You can Google it. So a lot of times that's what I get from the civic associations, the same people, mostly older people. But what I'm getting from the community is that they want this to stop. Right. So I work closely with like moms who have been impacted by gun violence. I'm impacted. I live in the city of Wilmington. I know people who have died of gun violence, right? And my family and my friends, all those things. So I personally impacted. It's in the community. The community does not want gun violence to happen. Like, this is not like a lot of people talk about Wilmington. We're not all criminals. We're not all violence prone, right? It's like a small group of people who have been impacted by social, historical, systemic issues that cause that to happen, right? It's a small percentage of us. It's not all of us. And the majority of us do not want to live in a neighborhood where we feel unsafe. So I can say for the community, for the civic associations, of course, they're talking about it. But specifically, the civic association does not represent the community. So when I talk about the community, those are the people that I'm like vouching for, is like that subgroup, those people who really want it to end. So
yeah, I was hoping that it will become a swell from the ground root, saying, look, we're tired of our babies being killed. Now, no one on this show is advocating that, a person who's doing wrong is right. But there has to be an outcry that we need our streets safe. As safe as it is, it should be just as safe in Southbridge as it is down at the waterfront. Or the riverfront, what do we call it? The waterfront?
They call it the riverfront.
The riverfront, I'm sorry. Or the riverfront. And I think when you don't have that kind of outcry where people are politically unaware of their power, we tend to continue to see violence rising and rising and rising. And I think at some point we're going to have to address it. You know anything about that 4th and Franklin shooting?
Yeah, so that was a 23-year-old was shot. There's no additional details about that. He was transported to the hospital in stable condition. And then there was another shooting on Harrison Street, where a teenager shot another teenager. Again, there has been no information released on it, on if the young teen, if he survived or not, but it was a young man.
What is wrong with sharing what is going on, or what's wrong? I guess when people don't have any information, I guess they worry about the laws. See, I'm trying to look at it from the perspective of the reason why they are not sharing more details is because there may be some people who are going to be in the court systems and they have to make sure they protect the evidence and things of that nature. I don't know, but I was just in a class on Tuesday because I'm doing this challenge to make sure it's about prevention of diabetes and losing weight and all that good stuff. And a lady was in our class here at the Henrietta. She said, I am afraid to come into this section of to the city, period. That's what she said. And I said to her, well, everywhere you go, there's violence, but there has to be some kind of sense of security that is under control. It's not loose and random, and no one is paying attention. That's where I think I'm more or less concerned about. That is just loose, and people are just able to do things. And if you know that something is going on in a certain block, we need to have a presence. Whether it be on foot, whether it be whether the task force is asking for, but there needs to be a strong presence. So I'm going to kind of like leave that there because we got even more on this show. I thought we were safe to have our children go out 202. That's not in the city. I thought at the Concord Mall, there was a nice carnival there, and we have another shooting where a 16-year-old young boy was killed. Where are we safe? What do you know? First, is there any more information on that one?
Yeah, so that was a fight broke out at the Carnival. The Carnival was hosted by a nonprofit called LEAD. It is the Law Enforcement Against Drugs nonprofits, a 501c3. A fight broke out close to the entrance of it by where the old Sears building was, the Anchor store. During the fight, someone pulled out a gun, started shooting into the crowd of people who were fighting. The 16-year-old was struck and was transported to the hospital and later died. And then there was even though the paper says 17, he was actually 14 years old, who was also struck and taken in critical condition to the hospital. From what I've heard, the 14-year-old is doing better, but still not in stable condition. Both of these young men lived in the city of Wilmington. They're from the city of Wilmington. And again, this is another incident happening. Unfortunately, we losing another young life due to gun violence, and it's sad. Yeah.
It's multifaceted, so it's definitely systemic, historical things that have happened in communities. It's also parenting. It's like a mixture community, like so many things that need to happen to have prevented that. But I don't think there's nothing immediately we could have done. But I know other carnivals put into there's one by my old high school. They have that one every year. I know you have to have a parent with you to get in. Like, you have to set up these boundaries just to have fun. So I know they have done that because there used to be shootings at that carnival too. But now that if you don't have a parent with you, you gotta go. Like, if
I think Christiana Mall kind of established that same
Christiana Mall. So like, I think it's unfortunate because, like, you know, I'm 12, 13. I want to go by myself. I don't want to go with my parents. You know. Right. But then there's a few that messed it up for all of us. Right?
Yeah, but when you go in, the question I guess I'm asking is why you said near the Sears, so that means they were not in the carnival area, or they were just out on the outskirts.
They were near that entrance. There was two entrances.
When you have to go in, do they search?
I haven't been up there.
Because I think that should be one of the things, is that they should have when people are going into these events and venues, there should be a metal detector to make sure that people are not over here, and you can't come into our gym without going through our metal detector. Not that we want to make everything seem like it's criminals, but the reality of it is, I got to keep everyone else safe. That one person can spoil it for everybody. Yeah. And that's sad.
You got to have cover fees. You got to make sure parents is with them so you can reduce that. Because we were going to go to the carnival this weekend, but they packed up.
Matter of fact, one of our staff members told me that the day of that event, they were supposed to go, but something happened. They weren't able to go. It's sad. And wasn't there a cost to go in?
I don't know.
I
don't think so. But you have to have that to deter
some of this.
Some of it. But then also, it's not even, if we want to talk about gun violence, like overall, that's good for the moment. But then how do we actually make sure that we don't have young people who have access to guns? Yeah. Like, think about that. Like, the point that a 17-year-old, 14-year-old teenagers, babies, kids have access to guns. Yeah. Okay? How do you get certain guns in this community? They're all not stolen. Some of them were put here.
Right.
Okay?
On purpose.
On purpose. Yeah. So the fact that a young African-American teenage boy has access to those things is problematic. So there's a deeper issue we even got to go into. But for like fun stuff, for carnivals, man, I'm okay with having a charge at the door, making sure people have parents with them, because as someone, I don't want to go there and my kid accidentally gets shot.
Absolutely.
You know, like, I care about those things too. But then I also know there's a bigger thing that we need to work on as a society, as a community. So
yeah, that one. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So it was $30 to get in on Thursday, and for the other days it was 35 days to get just a wristband, and then you had to buy tickets for the rides and stuff.
Oh, so it was kind of expensive. That was a kind of expensive.
That's why they were outside the gate. So,
right. So what kind of security was outside the gate would be my very next question. Yeah. Because if they can't get in, then let me just go out here, and then we're gonna get the other things to happen. And then are these venues, are they required to have a certain amount of security? Like if we close down our street, we got to have security. So they do have to have a certain amount. So where were the presence of police?
So I believe state police were on site. Any event in which I think it's over 100 people you're expecting, you have to have one cop per 100. So I don't know how many state police were up there, but from my understanding, there was state police in the area. There was a fight earlier in the night that they broke up. And I know a few of the cops were still tied up with processing with the people involved with the fight earlier.
Wow. Our children have nothing to do with when I would say we, but y'all generation under me. But when I was growing up, that was one of the things that we look forward to, the carnival. But it was free in my day. And we went and we had a ball and
I used to go to the St. Helena's Carnival all the time. I look forward to that.
But it seems like
I'm looking forward to a funnel cake.
Right? But we had a place now where nothing is safe. Nowhere is safe. And I think it's important that those elected officials start putting together more safety measures to assist.
No. Let the next administration deal with it. It's not a problem now. We'll just leave it for the next people.
Well, that's
hopefully
what's been
they get to it.
I would imagine.
Okay. It's not a problem now. There's nothing to worry about.
Well, I disagree if somebody is saying that. It is something to worry about right now because our babies are dying now. And some are innocent.
We'll wait till the last minute. We'll just wait till 2025 when the other money runs out, and we'll figure out something then, okay? All right? We got this.
Well, while it is facetiously stated, I am not by any means impressed with waiting, especially when people are dying.
Yeah, dying over
now.
The weekend, just in 1 week.
Yeah.
And they want to wait?
Yeah. It's not good. Then the final thing I want to talk about in this first segment is this Wilmington police pursuit that ends in Chester with gunfire. And man, before we even get into this, I was sharing in a very light way about how some of the women are starting to pick up saying, count me too. Well, I can't say that, can I? No. Oh, I can't say that. Forgive me. Don't send me no letters. All right. But it's almost to a place where I'm seeing a lot of violence with women starting to increase. But this situation happened right here in the heart of the city on Madison Street. And then it ended up in Chester. What do we know about it?
Yeah, so they were trying to execute a warrant. Someone who they thought was involved with a shooting dating back to December of last year. She was able to, I guess, get out of her house or wherever she was, get in a car. She hit 3 police cars, got on 95, headed up north, crashed a car into a barrier, was able to get into someone else's car, I guess. I don't know how she got into their car. Got into their car, police fired at the car, and while they're firing at the car, I guess they shot her in the leg or somewhere in her lower body. She was driving, got to Chester, crashed. When she crashed, she ran into someone's backyard and their back window was open and she went through the window. Was in there with another young lady who had no clue what was going on. As she was trying to get away from the cops, she was able to get the keys to the young lady's car whose house she was in. She got in the car, took off, crashed again, and that's when cops opened fire on her yet again.
Wait a minute, that's like a movie. That was a whole lot going on there.
That was like a video game.
Yeah.
GTA 6 is coming out. But my concern is the police unloaded on this young lady. 125 shots were fired at her. From Wilmington police, from Delaware State Police, from Pennsylvania County Police. I forget the name of the county up there. I'm sorry. And from a special policing joint task force unit, police officer also fired. The cops who fired at her while she was in the car the first time were 2 state troopers as well too. One, I get you want to take this person in. It's been a long chase. This was an open street, middle of the day, around 2 p.m. Kids are getting out of school. I'm not justifying anything she did, but when she stole that first car, the first car after she crashed her car, you don't know who was in that car with her. There could have been a little baby in that back seat.
Yeah.
There could have been a little kid in that back. It could have been just someone in the back seat.
And think about all the white folks throughout this country who are armed, shoot up churches, shoot buildings up, and come out untouched.
Not only untouched.
And give them a Burger King after.
Burger King.
A
Whopper.
You feel me? Like, not justifying what she did, but the treatment.
And fries.
Both is wild.
See, what you're doing is you're kind of like putting a split screen there. Like, we do not condone violence of the either. However, the treatment is just unbelievable.
It's like the disparity in the treatment is like wild in how police treat us.
Well, I just hope that first, her family, I feel, bad for them. They were going to investigate something she had done.
Yes.
Well, nothing was proven, but this is allegedly. She then tried to escape them. What happened to the legislation that talks about not being able to shoot after moving vehicles? Oh,
that's settled law. That passed years ago. But yet, we have a DOJ that never prosecutes police officers for doing that, and we have seen that multiple times. Right. It not only endangers the person who they're shooting at, it endangers the public, and it also, because we love our cops and our DOJ, so if you want to really protect the cops, it endangers them. That is what happened in Lamont Moses' case, and they try to use that as a justification. Oh, he started coming towards us. That was after you shot him. He was driving away, and then once you shot him, he lost control of the car and crashed into a police cruiser. But then yet, Newcastle County Police used that as justification. Oh, he was going to come towards us. See, he came towards us at the end.
We covered in this first 25 minutes of the segment 3 major issues that occurred, whether it be from violence through shooting in the inner city, whether it be the shooting that occurred up at the Carnival, as well as the last outbreak that ended up in Chester. We have to do something about the violence in our city. Our seniors are scared. Regular citizens now, we used to just could say seniors. Regular citizens are afraid. People who need help with their medical, they're saying, I'm scared to come into the city because while even riding on the bus, a bullet can fly right through and hit them. We have to do better. We cannot wait until a new administration come in. And I'm gonna say to the police department, I'm not against you. I'm saying we have to come up with a plan that will dictate a better outcome. Show what we're doing, and let's try to make some stuff happen, because there are other ways other than having police in the area that we can do. When you start hearing rumors, and that's where you're gonna need people on the ground. You gotta hire people who understand what is going on in the community, because they can help you to deter some of the traffic and violence that is going on. So I'm gonna leave it there, and I'm just gonna say, we gotta do better. We gotta do better. We got to do better, and we cannot wait. Our kids are dying now. We'll be right back. And we're back. Well, what's going on with Shané's scoop?
Yes. I wanted to give an update on the water legislation. I feel like the last 2 weeks I haven't been here, but I know it was voted down. So we had 3 pieces of legislation. One was about creating a water affordability program. So we know that 1/3 of our customers are delinquent. For some reason, they cannot afford the water. So we wanted to create a water affordability plan. So I got the most votes on that. So I had 5 people out of 13 of us who were saying, yes, let's start a water affordability program. So we're going back to the drawing board to make some edits, amendments to the legislation that failed, to bring it up again to say, hey, how can we get at least 2 more people on board so that we can talk about what does water affordability look like in our city, because we know that there are people who cannot afford it. And we also know that every year there's going to be an indefinite water increase. There's no plan that is, it's only for the next 3 years, it's only for the next 5 years. They said that they don't know when water increases are going to end.
You say they.
The administration doesn't know when it's going to end. And when we asked the question at the budget hearing, they said that this was like indefinite, like there was no end. I was like, how long will we see increases for? We don't know.
Now they proposed 9, and I think y'all end up giving them the committee gave them 5.
Yep. So there was a counter offer for around 5%. So they felt the pressure from the community and from the Homes campaign. So they were getting a lot of pushback from constituents calling them, a lot of emails, a lot of community outreach was happening to put pressure on city council to hopefully don't do any increases without a plan to protect those who can't afford it, and also without a plan to hold commercial accounts accountable who then don't pay their water bill and don't get cut off and don't get foreclosed on, right? So we need to address those things to then say, let's do water increases because we might need a new water facility. I don't know, whatever it may be, right? Whatever project is related to water and sewer, that makes more sense to have barriers set up in place before we do increases, right? Let's talk about affordability. Let's talk about holding commercial people accountable. But this city council doesn't want to do that. Right. So that's the problem. So in this budget, you're going to see get approved. It is less than 9. It's about a 5% increase. 5.8, about a 5% increase, 5.8 exactly. You're going to see that increase happen with still no barriers to protect people.
So I have a few questions here. One, it's a 5.8. Oh, it's not 9.6 what it was, right? It's a huge win for the community. But let me ask you this. Didn't y'all pass not you didn't vote for it, but didn't they pass a ordinance to automatically raise the water and sewer a few years ago?
To automatically
over the next 5 years to raise it by 5% each year.
In the 5-year plan? Yeah.
So that passed.
Yes, in the 5-year plan.
Which means it's already raising 5%, and then they're adding this 5.8 on, correct?
Correct.
So it's really 10.8% that is going up. And then on top of that, because I could do math, even though some of those council members can't, on top of that, they're adding a 4% increase to our stormwater rates, correct?
Yep.
So now add that up, that's 14.8% they're raising our taxes. See, all these other council people can try to play these games.
They play a lot of word games.
But again, and they try to play with people's intelligence. But none of them are smart enough to actually succeed.
Yeah, and with all transparency, this week, when I saw the Homes campaign flyer, I called the city council person who represents this district, and on the show, Coffee with Curry, this morning, you all saw that I interviewed Councilwoman Harley. And one of the things I asked her is about this water bill, whether or not there would be an increase, and she said it was, but it would not be what the mayor has suggested.
Well,
yeah, because she felt that pressure. Well, she felt that community
Here's
pressure.
The thing. She's been on council almost 8 years now and didn't even know if people got double taxed for their income tax if they lived here and worked here. And that is on record at a budget committee hearing, right? She did not even know that. So again, for her to be on council for so long and want to go out and talk to the public about the budget and try to use the talking points from the mayor's administration to tell everyone what it is, that is crazy. Don't come at us saying we're giving misinformation when you don't even understand the process you're talking about. Y'all already voted on this. Y'all already raised it by 5%. Why are y'all doing it anymore? Because it was a lot.
Water bills are unaffordable for some people.
Right.
Like, I can pay my water bill. I'm cool. Right. But it doesn't mean I don't care about the next person or that I can't be in their shoes tomorrow. Right. Where I can't afford my water bill. So it's important that we put barriers in place as we are doing increase. Because I'm not saying we don't ever need an increase. Like, I'm not saying that. Right. We're going to need increases for certain things. Right. And it has to make sense. And it has to be water and sewer related for the increase to happen. That's what I believe. But then we also need to protect people who cannot afford it. There are people who cannot afford it. They're getting shut offs and foreclosed on for any, like, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. But then you have large companies who are getting slaps on the wrist.
DuPont.
Yeah, well, last week, Coby brought up several. Was it last week or week before?
A few weeks, yeah.
4 weeks ago, about several of the corporations had high water bills and they were not shut off. Now, I asked that question too, not so much about the DuPonts, but more about how many shut-offs do we really have? Now, she's going to get back to me with a better number, a more definitive number. Sure. But she said that it was not to the level that people were saying, like it was like 40% or
so if it's not to the level that we're saying, then why don't they go ahead and put protections in place so that there's no water shutoff?
If it's already not there.
It's not though.
No,
it's not though. For almost 3 years, this same council sat there and said, oh, yeah, you can go ahead and apply for the down payment assistance program for first-time home buyers that Linda Gray pushed for. And even though she pushed for more, it was $10,000. That's why they're just doing a lotto now. It's election time. Don't listen to the nonsense. And see, here's another thing with that, right? So again, to the council members who watched this show, who called me a liar for talking about that, even though they said I put up the fake water bills when we put the water bills up for...
That's not fake, it's online.
They were fake.
Look it up. Yeah. Look it up yourself.
Yeah, no, that wasn't fake. I looked them up.
Oh no, Hotel DuPont. They don't owe that much money. That's Coby's lying.
They so bought. Look at who funds them.
Coby's lying.
These large developers and commercial people fund these city council people, so of course they're going to say whatever they want.
Well, but no,
if I got to pay my water bill every month, they should too. And if y'all really are in a bind, whoa, we're in a tight budget situation. Make them pay their money or don't renew their license.
No. They're not going to do that. They're going to put it on the everyday person who can't afford it. And they're going to tell them, as Councilmember Harley told me, they need to just get a job. Okay? That these people just need to work.
Really?
And that's not true. Most people are working. Most people can't afford to live in this day and age. It is rough out here. It is real out here. And she's disconnected from that. Mm-hmm. These city council people are disconnected from the realities that the majority of Wilmingtonians are faced with. I'm just feeling the impact. I'm just not feeling the impacts of COVID on my financials in my household. I am just feeling that. Like, I'm just feeling, oh, okay, I feel good about where I'm at financially. Because I was impacted. I was already, as a single mom, not where I wanted to be. But then COVID came, set me back even more. Right? And imagine someone who's even in a worse situation than I am. So we want to talk about water bill. Water bills is so key and important to like the everyday lives of people in our city. And these city council people are bought and they're paid and look at who funds them, because that's public record too. And y'all need to look it up. So when you're funded by BPG, I don't care about what you got to say.
Well, because you're funded by them, don't mean you have to, be bought by them. Do you really believe that they have to be?
Yes.
Have to be?
No, they don't have to be.
Okay.
Yeah, but I wouldn't accept money from somebody I don't align with.
Well, they ain't doing nothing illegal. They doing what they have to do to be rich.
Yeah, okay. I got morals.
No, but I'm saying, if they donate to your campaign, we're gonna move on. But if they donate to your campaign, let them donate. But you still.
Oh no, it's gonna be on refund.
No.
I don't need their money that much. I have morals and character.
No, but you still can maintain your morals and character even though you're getting their money.
Some people can, but that's a hard thing to do.
All right.
I don't think that's.
I just want you to concede to that one thing.
I think that's rare.
Okay, it may be rare.
Very rare.
But because
I work with them and I see internal meetings with these people. They're liars. Okay. They try to find ways to get. No, I'm not. No. They are. You caught one of them in a lie. Okay, you caught one of them illegally wanting to vote in private when it was Councilmember White when he got appointed.
They said that question was asked too.
No. There's emails of hers to go into law, emailing all of us, telling us not to do it, and she still went and did it.
Okay.
Who was it?
Councilmember Michelle Harley.
Oh wow, y'all really come? Well,
I don't care at this point. I'm not fooling with them. They don't have good character, and they want to talk about people, but they need to worry about how one of their council colleagues vote for their brother to get money, and they steal money and put it in their account. How about that? So y'all not even worried about the right things. Y'all need to have good character and good morals. How about that? Let's start there. I cannot settle with someone who does not have a good character and morals, who is a liar. I don't do that, and I won't do that, especially with Councilmember Harley, especially what she did with that whole FOIA. That's the things that y'all see. That's the things that come to light. Imagine everything else that didn't.
I hear you.
Okay.
I'm not. What I want to do is ask the questions on both sides.
So with the water legislation, it's going to keep coming back up because that comes, as long as I'm on council, until we have barriers set up to protect people, I'm going to keep putting that conversation on the table. Y'all going to keep voting no to this, and people going to keep seeing you vote no to them getting assistance or being able to afford their water bill, right? That conversation has not happened yet, and they're all liars to say that it has. Anyone who said it is a liar, and I said it. Now for the budget, it's going to get voted on this week. So by the time this airs, the budget is going to be voted on. They're going to increase your water bill with no protections in place for water affordability. No protections in place for people who get their water cut off, right? Getting your water cut off 30 days or 6 months is still the same thing. Your water is getting cut off. And if I can't afford it, what makes you think I'm going to afford it 2-3 months later? They don't have protections put in place. The only thing I could say that is kind of some barrier or protection, but it's still waiting for a person to get delinquent, is we are trying to put in a process, Councilmember Johnson, a place where people can do water appeals. So they can appeal their water bill. Like if their water bill is too high, they can appeal it, which I think is a great thing to establish. But then you're just waiting for someone to get into a negative situation to then address it. Why don't we mitigate it from the beginning? Why don't we have processes and barriers in the beginning? Why are we waiting for people to get delinquent? Why are we waiting for people to get water shut off? Why are we waiting for people to get the notice that they're getting foreclosed on? Like, stop. I'm not fooling with them. Y'all keep fooling with them.
Oh, I have to fool with everybody because I have to represent a lot of people.
Yeah, no, yes, I said y'all do that.
But you got to represent a lot of people too.
No, I'm good where I am. My community loves me. I'm great. Okay. I don't need validation from them. I'm cool. I walk in my truth.
The issue is validation, but you got to get some stuff passed. And I think that's
these people are petty people. Okay. I'm good. I'm cool, and I know for a fact I have some other things too. Okay.
Okay. I'm all right. But you're not finished. You got some more stuff you want to share.
Yeah. So the only other thing I wanted to talk about was we know that, and I don't think I was here yet, but John Carney had his official announcement down at Del Tech. We know that some Palestinian protesters went down there to protest it. And what was really disheartening after watching the video, there's two things, was that how people were laughing afterwards. Like, these people are protesting that their own family members, people they're connected to, that another human being across this ocean is dying. Right? So that was very unfortunate to me that these are the type of people that sit in his room who think it's a joke or that it's funny, that there's a genocide happening right now. And that people are dying.
Now, who thinks it's a joke?
They were laughing at the John Carney thing.
Who were laughing? That's what I'm trying to...
Everybody in that room.
Okay.
After they left, they start clapping hands and laughing at them.
The protesters.
At the protesters.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get them.
Yeah, at the protesters. So that was really disheartening. But another thing, it was a room full of white faces, but it was also, I already knew some of the black faces who were going to be in there. But it's just really disheartening that we sit here, I sit in some rooms with them and they talk about black economics, black this, black that, but then they turn around and they're publicly supporting John Carney, who won, not even just because he's white, but he doesn't even in my opinion, has the qualifications or passion for Wilmington that the same way other people do. And y'all sit here and y'all are supporting him, and I'm gonna be public about it each time. So stop following me if y'all have an issue with it. Stop all of that. Like, I'm going to keep commenting about specifically black folks who support John Carney. That is ridiculous to me. And this cannot have happened in any other city. I got my friends who are in Baltimore who are in politics, and they're still in disbelief that a majority city has a white mayor. They said, we won't even allow that to happen here. Like, that, it won't even be a thing. You go to these other majority black cities, a white mayor, even the thought of that?
Could the people who are supporting him are the people that he was good to?
That he was good to, that he gave a little bit of to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably.
I'm just trying to find that maybe that's the people who decided that I'm going to support him, and who you saw in the room. I don't know who you saw in the room.
Yeah, it's
don't name any people.
Yeah, I'm not naming. They know who they are, and they publicly supported him.
Well, obviously, it's going to have to be a whole lot more African American.
It wasn't that many.
I mean, not in the room, but it's going to have to be in order to win the city.
Yeah, it's going to be the family of the people who were in that room. That's it. Because outside of that, when I talk to anybody, even white folks, when I tell them that our governor is running for mayor, they're confused. How does a governor run for mayor? One. And then when I tell them, and most people understand that we're a majority black city, even white folks is like, how do you have a white mayor in a majority black city? Even white folks ask that question and understand that there's something wrong in that. And this is about a power move. This is about white power, white supremacy, these little people with privilege or power trying to maintain it. That's all this is about, because why would a governor run for mayor? Why?
Yeah.
Where do you see that happening in the history of histories? You don't see that happening. So that's the frustrating part for me, is that I really hope my people see this as we are canvassing, we're knocking doors. And it doesn't even have to be for me. Like, I love Velda. I think she's a great, and it's not even just because she's Black. She's very well qualified for the job.
That's true.
And she's connected to the community. She is someone who is connected to the community.
It's going to be interesting as we get into the political season. I would like to really, I think Coby's going to talk about the governor's debate, but I really want to, at some point, hope we can bring them to this show and ask some of the tough questions to both.
Yeah, let's ask some of the tough questions. So that we can begin to talk about whether or not people are doing it for political gain or to keep a certain status or doing it. Of course, he's not going to say it. He like the rest of them council people.
You can hear answers.
He like the rest of city council. And they're never going to directly say that they're in support of BPG and the mayor. The mayor's daughter is never going to say that. She will never say that.
The mayor's who?
The mayor's daughter, Councilmember Cabrera, would never directly say that.
You gonna Jesus. You know this is gonna be all the way off course. I am so sorry. So you were watching us.
She would never directly say that.
I'm like, the mayor's daughter. I was confused.
Okay.
All you know what? We'll be right back. And we're back. Brother Coby, what's going on with Coby Corner today?
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about it is budget season across the board for all municipalities from the state on down. Well, federal too, but from the state on down. Right now, we just talked about some of the stuff with the city budgeting process. Property taxes are not going up. But I did want to talk about water and sewer again, just to add on, because I just did the quick math for it, right? So in these last 4 years under this council, they have raised our water and sewer by 31.3%. Again, that is and they keep saying, oh, it's only a few. No, you have a set 5% increase that's automatically going to happen. And then whatever they add on to it since they voted on that.
Honestly. Right. And if that is not correct, those of you who are watching, please share with me the truth. Because again, sometimes when I'm sitting here, you expected me to counter certain things. I can't really counter what I don't know. Because if you heard my show earlier today, when the information was given out about the water bill increase, I said, okay, well, good. Y'all did a negotiation and it went down, but I didn't know it's another 5% definitely tagged onto that. So that I didn't know.
And that passed in 2022 again. So the last two budgets will be affected by that. So again, that brings us to a 31.3% increase over these last few years. On the city side also, the proposed budget is a $209 million general fund operating budget. Then on the county side, the county is proposing a $342.5 million operating budget. That will be voting on next Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday. No property tax increases, and there are raises in there for different departments as well too. The capital proposal budget is $34.4 million, which would include upgrades to the sewer system in the Newcastle County area. And again, this will also allow them to put close to $30 million into parks as well too. For the state of Delaware, they have two ongoing debates right now. One is the overall operating budget for the state of Delaware. It looks to be about $6 billion. And then as of right now, the General Assembly is about to take their break to do their final markup for grant and aid and for bond committee. Bond is the infrastructure capital improvement budget. There has been a lot of requests. The application closed earlier this week. So now it will be a time where they get to debate what projects get funded and at what level. So again, if you want to follow that, go to DelawareGeneralAssembly.com so that you can follow and see if your nonprofit or your favorite nonprofit is going to get the funds that is needed. We have some champions on the bond committee, like Senator Marie Pickney, who fights hard for a lot of minority nonprofits and ones in her district as well too. Again, the last thing I want to talk about the next thing I'm going to talk about is there is a childcare bill that has been introduced that would, again, address a few things. So one, after a long working task force, the Senate Education Committee cleared a few bills that reform our childcare practices here in Delaware, and also protect teaching history of marginalized groups in social study classes, not only for the early preschool and kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade. The first piece of legislation adopts an electronic record system to make online applications for providers a lot easier. It has been a very you get a large packet of paper that you have to fax or you have to deliver to the office. Sometimes the people aren't in the office. This will streamline that process to make sure people aren't losing documents. And it also will help with licensing, especially when it comes to hiring new staff. Another bill changes and strengthens the service letters that are for prospective childcare professionals of their prior experience that they have to provide to healthcare and childcare facilities required by state law. This again just makes sure that we're getting the right people in these childcare facilities. There's been a few incidents up and down the state that we've read about in the paper of childcare people abusing children, and healthcare workers also abusing their clients as well too. And then the next piece of legislation eliminates the existing and outdated salary schedule that had been set. This allows for more flexibility and also for the increase of salaries for individuals who are OCCL staff, which is again under the Office of License and Childcare licensing. These bills move forward. Again, we hope that they get passed. You also see a bill that got passed that would add Asian American, Pacific Islander to the added history taught in our schools. We've seen two other bills like this pass already. One to add Jewish heritage and one to add African American history to our curriculum as well too. This bill has passed and it will go to the Senate floor hopefully when they come back from their Memorial Day break and bond break. Next, I want to talk about something on a national level, and that is Angela Alsobrooks won her primary down in Maryland, which gives us a chance of having 2 Black women elected to the U.S. Senate, one from Delaware and one from Maryland. She will face their former governor, 2-term governor Larry Hogan, who is a Republican but always played that moderate lane, have very good crossover support, so she does have an uphill battle, but I do wish her all the best of luck. And the person she beat, the only thing that he was a congressman, he bought that seat, he put almost $20 million into this race and lost by a huge margin, lost by double digits. All the polling out there said that Angela was going to lose by double digits. Right. That's why I never believe polling, because you can shape it to however you want. But David Trone lost. He is the founder of some people's favorite place to go shop, which is Total Wines and Company, the major wine and liquor distributor. But Angela built a grassroots campaign. She overwhelmingly won areas such as Baltimore, Prince George County, areas where we have a lot of minorities living. Mm-hmm. She overwhelmingly won, and she was able to stay close enough in the other areas throughout the state to win this handily. Excellent.
And I just want to add to that Delaware's own Jordan Hines worked on her campaign. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you, Jordan, he ran here. He wanted to be involved in politics, but he got pushed out. Okay? Yeah. I'm going to tell you about leadership here. Leadership is pushing out great talent, and they're leaving and going to other parts close by to then do great things. He served on her campaign, worked hard on her campaign, wants to really be in politics and make change. He really wanted to do it in his own state, but couldn't do it because of leadership, because of them not allowing.
Too ambitious and too young.
too ambitious, too young, not giving him opportunities, right? This is what we do to young people. This is what we do to people who want to make change. And he wasn't even like a super radical person like me. He was super like...
You said that?
Yes.
You were super radical?
I feel like I am very different than most people. I'm willing to speak out, and they will call me and label me radical. No, I don't do too much of the label thing. I think I just speak out for what is... I think they need to be called out for what the stuff they do, and I'm gonna call you out.
He wasn't as
he wasn't as vocal as me. Not saying he wasn't, like, I wouldn't consider him in the BART community, but he wasn't as vocal. Like, he wasn't those things, but he wanted to make a difference. He wanted to be a part of the process, and they excluded him from it.
Does he still live in the state?
No, he left.
Lives in Maryland.
He left.
So I want to add one thing. He didn't just work on the campaign, right? Because that's what they like to do here in Delaware, is just, you can go knock doors, right?
No.
He was the political director for the campaign.
Oh, wow.
He worked for Governor West before that.
Oh, wow.
He, again, being a political director for a federal statewide campaign entails bringing in the endorsements, networking, setting up the fundraising opportunities, right? She was able, even though she did get outspent 10-1, she was up against a multi-millionaire. So the money that you bring in, every little dime matters, and he was able to do that, building those connections, whether it's building it with the governor and bringing them on board. First off, Angela ended up getting endorsed by the other sitting U.S. Senator, Chris Van Hollen, by most of the congressional delegation down there. All of them, except for the guy who was running against her, endorsed her. By former Senator Barbara Mikulski, who was the longest serving woman in the U.S. Senate history, who served from Maryland, who was in the seat at one point in time. And by Governor Westmore himself. For a governor to get involved in a primary is huge.
Now, is that a Democratic seat?
It is so it's being Ben Cardin is the one who's stepping down from the position.
Okay.
He's 80 years old, and he's retiring at the end of his term. And Angela's running for the open seat. Now, Larry Hogan is the best chance for the Republicans to flip this seat. But again, they're going to try to throw everything at her. She is a strong, she has the resume. She is a great candidate that anyone would be lucky to have a candidate like her, right, running. So again, I just wanted to highlight that huge win, upset win in some people's mind, right? Oh my God, I ain't see this coming.
Right.
She did a good job. She had the right team around her. And here's the thing. Her original team, she got rid of them. They couldn't get it done. And then brought people like Jordan in.
Like Jordan
and look
Hines,
at that.
Delaware's own. He said
won
he's
by
disowning
13.
I'm like, don't disown us.
Won by 13% with 54% of the vote. So again, that was a huge win for her. Yeah. Second, I want to talk about what's going on down in Louisiana. I talked about it, the ongoing court battle about getting that second congressional district. Then another court, the appellate court, came back and said, oh, never mind, we can throw that out. You only have to have one. The U.S. Supreme Court, and I don't give them credit a lot.
You sure don't.
But they did do something right for once this year. Stepped in and put a pause to the chaotic battle, saying that they will allow them to use the current map that had been created, that created a second majority black district down in Louisiana, because the original had violated the Voting Rights Act. Again, this is huge. Right now in that second district, former congressman and current Louisiana State Senator Cleo Fields is running for that seat, and he is the favorite in the new African-American majority district down there. So that would be a pickup for Democrats. And again, this would be the first time in almost 30 years that individuals, black Southerners who live in Baton Rouge, will have someone who actually represents them.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Yes.
Especially when you're the majority.
Yes.
Leadership should look like you.
Yeah. Or if not look, well, it should look like you, but if it doesn't look like you, it should be a part of you. Because what all too often we go and we get people to represent us who don't have no clue on what we are about and what we're trying to do. So I'm with you. I'm with you.
And then the last thing I want to talk about with this last few minutes is tomorrow at 6 p.m. Come out to Canaan Baptist Church. There's a debate happening. We have all 5 people who are running for governor have confirmed that they will be at the debate. That's the 2 Republicans, Mike Ramone and Jared Price. I am so sorry, I forgot the name for a second. And then the 3 Democratic candidates, Colin O'Mara, Bethany Holong, and Matt Meyer, have all confirmed as well too. So it's going to be a great day. We are going to be taking questions from the public. So if you have questions you want to ask, please come. Let us know those questions. We'll be getting them to the moderator. This is in a coalition with A. Philip Randolph, the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League, Canaan Baptist Church, 100 Black women, 100 Black men. So again, we have a lot that we are trying to do, and hopefully we get the information out and ask them the hard question.
Yeah, well, I hope we do, because that's going to be a very interesting race between the Democratic candidates, because we know it's going to be one of the 2, and it's a whole lot that's really at risk. There are people who decide that they didn't like any of the candidates, but in actuality, that's going to be a very interesting race, and I might be able to show up for that event on tomorrow night. Again,
we're all nonprofits. We're not endorsing anyone. We're just presenting y'all the information to see where their vision for the state, where they want to take the state.
Good. We're going to be right back. And we're back. Well, in the last segment of the day, we just want to talk just about a minute or 2 on this whole situation that's going on, and with me continuously talking about recklessness. I believe with all my heart, soul, and mind that we're going to have to be very careful and watch strategically some of the things that are going on in our city, but really we also got to watch what's going on in our country. I was shocked when I saw the CNN report of how many members of the MAGA movement who were infiltrating a lot of these college campuses, where the cause of what is going on in Palestine is true. I mean, the murders, the inhumane treatment, I don't care, that was wrong, was wrong, and shall forever be wrong. But some of the people who were protesting and causing the violence from those who were trying to do it peacefully were part of that mega movement. And they're just trying to keep disruption so that Trump can get back in, because they want to make it look so bad that all the young Black people say, I don't want Biden. That's all plays in the Trump playbook, because at the end of the day, he knows he ain't going to get that vote neither. So what they're going to do, sit home, forget about Biden. And then he wins because he got a base that will not be shaken. I'm asking everybody, because since our show go way beyond just the city of Wilmington, because the state of Delaware probably will go for Biden, we have to really be very careful. And you need to be really thinking about it. Now, I don't know if any of y'all saw that situation or got any comments on that. I'll give y'all this moment or 2.
Yeah, so I think one is, don't let all the media kind of spew what they want. The media controls the narrative sometimes. Now, there are individuals who are in the more conservative movement who try to do different things to wreak havoc, to change narratives. That does happen, but you have to look at the overall, right? So this was one incident, but these protests, you can't lose the message of them. Right. And that is they want peace. And again, they want the U.S. government to stop funding what is happening, right? We are funding the bombs. We are funding the bullets. We are funding the tanks that are being used to commit genocide and atrocities, right? Things that we would be condemning Russia for doing right now. Things we would be condemning North Korea for doing right now. We are doing, right? We condemn China for them funding North Korea for their attack on South Korea, right? We're doing the same thing right now.
And I absolutely, we can't control what the narrative is going to be from the media. But when I saw that, we saw it on college campuses, and again, the message is real. And I don't want to skirt the message. But by the same token, I also want to bring to your attention that there are people who just want chaos.
Yes.
They want chaos at all costs. And we have to make sure we're paying attention, because If you just to be reckless, we'll end up with Donald Trump again, and he is going to be very clear. If you think you haven't struggled now, you think you haven't a way, it's going to be all about retribution for him. And I'm just very careful. Now, I just don't feel like I have to justify the fact that there's many things that has happened on a positive side with Biden, but then there are some things that happen on the positive side with Trump as well. But at the end of the day, we have to be paying attention, and you have to vote where you feel most comfortable. But do not be reckless. You know, there's only one of the two will get in. That's the truth. Which one do you think of the two? And it's not the best of two evils. It's just which one do you want to be as a part? Did you have anything before I go to the end of this?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, after a good, lively discussion today, especially during the Shané scoop, I call it bid well and farewell. And I thank y'all so very much for listening. God bless.
Take care, y'all.
Talk soon.